Hey everybody, ronarray here, and today I want to showcase my league starter build for 0.5, Tri-Elemental Martial Artist. At the moment, Martial Artist looks absolutely awesome. It provides damage in the form of Way of the Stone Fist, survivability with additional runes and Way of the Mountain, and even utility with additional bells. I'm very excited to play it because it looks like a breath of fresh air for Monk class that lost some appeal in the last few leagues, but now it is finally back. And maybe we will even see a resurrection of some old Hollow Palm builds. Hyperspeed anyone? A detailed leveling breakdown video is coming soon to you to make your progression easier as always. Since I'm playing it myself, feel free to subscribe to the channel for more updates too, and check out the written guide. And make sure to save it, it will be updated constantly. But now let's talk about the build itself, and focus on a few techniques and combos that I want to utilize to make our build as strong as possible. Let's go! So my initial logic been to either play Ice Strike and Shattering Palm for the Martial Artist or Whirling Assault, but I think at the moment there's a few important parts to consider when you're looking at both of those skills. So at the moment, GG changed how bells are working, and instead of one bell, we're going to get 3 bells by default. So I believe any skill that hitting a lot of bells at the same time is probably going to work better. And both skills received slight rebalance or even slight nerf. Whirling Assault right now has 20% increased attack speed, it previously been 15% more attack speed. And on the other hand, Ice Strike has 20% increased attack speed and previously it's been 10 more. So they practically get rid of more attack speed and replaced it with increased. That way we are going to get less attack speed for both skills. But I believe that Whirling Assault is going to survive it better because it cares significantly less about attack speed in general, and Ice Strike practically feeds on attack speed all the time. And if it's going to work not that good, we can also pivot back to cold. And another interesting topic is what to do with charges. At the moment how GG changed that, you will be able to use unique bonus from your Martial Artist passive to get free power charges all the time. And it leads us to skills which can offset those charges. It's either Flicker Strike or Falling Thunder. At the moment, comparing them to each other, I believe using Falling Thunder will be a little more comfortable, especially for clearing maps. It probably will give opportunities for full Flicker builds, but I believe going hybrid using Whirling or like Ice Strike and Shattering Palm with Falling Thunder on top is going to be more comfortable in the most cases. Now let's talk about Order of the Ascendancy and what kind of notes I want to pick for my Martial Artist. So generally, I believe that going for Way of the Stone Fist is very basic, but I don't think going for it first is going to be such a good idea. Just because your basic gloves are probably going to be pretty bad anyway, and I don't really believe it's just worth it. It probably will be best to pick Way of the Stone Fist second or maybe even third, especially if your gloves are still pretty mid. So next step is Hollow Focus and Hollow Resonance, which is probably best options for damage in the campaign. So go Hollow Focus and then Hollow Resonance is going to be a default option to maximize your damage. Also, you will be able to get a lot of free power charges from Hollow Focus in the campaign, and I'm going to cover that later on in the leveling video too. But my options would be going up to Hollow Resonance, taking Way of the Stone Fist, and just deciding on what's popular. I believe the Runic Meridians will be default option for most of the builds, but personally I believe the Way of the Mountain is looking very solid right here, so if new sockets and like new runes will not impress me too much, I believe the last one is going to be Way of the Mountain for me. But we will figure it out when the game actually starts, and we will have in-game testing. At the moment I'm absolutely set on Way of the Stone Fist, Hollow Focus and Hollow Resonance as always. Also, there's a chance that Hollow Form is going to be absolutely amazing to kill bosses, so tasting it like a last option would be an interesting idea. However, as we already figured out, we have a lot of options to offset charges. It's Falling Thunder, it's Flicker mostly, and I don't really believe that we need Hollow Form for something like that. Now let's talk about the build in more details. So as a main skill, we are going to use Whirling Assault. In the endgame, we will be able to use expensive gems such as Rakata's Flow, Garukhan, Resolve, and Rigvalds. I think all of those are working very good with Whirling and probably going to improve the damage significantly. In earlier endgame, when you don't have all of those available, I think just running a basic setup with Pinpoint, Blindside, and Efficiency is going to be a very good idea. I also think that Blindside at the moment is absolutely necessary in the most of the builds. It's going to work absolutely amazing, since you will have one Tempest Bow on your back right here, and you can get both Rage and Blind there. Also, using something like an Osin Oath is going to help you leech mana pretty easily from the bow that is always on your back. So it's absolutely recommended. The rest is not too important. And for the Whirling Assault itself, I believe that Rigvald's Ferocity is a very solid option because you don't really care much about attack speed, and running it is probably going to be a pretty good idea. So there's also a very cool thing that we can utilize when we are playing Monk again. So coming back to it, I believe using Trinity is going to be a huge upside, since we can just get all three elements up pretty stably. Whirling Assault is a physical skill, so by itself it's not moving and not transitioning your damage to any other kind of element compared to an Ice Strike, for example. That will give an opportunity for us to just stack all types of damage. So as you can see right here, we can have a pretty clean and pretty close numbers for lightning, cold, and fire damage. Lightning is a little offset in that setup, but I'm probably going to change it a little so they will be even more close to each other. So when you have all three types of elemental damage, you can utilize a lot of different techniques. First off, in the tree we will be able to take Harness Elements, for example, since we're dealing damage with all three elements too. Enemy will be ignited, enemy will be chilled, and enemy will be shocked, which is very good for us. And it can give you pretty decent amount of damage too. And we can also utilize the Trinity itself, as I already showcased, to stack our Resonance. Amount of Resonance would heavily depend on the build. I usually would not expect too high of a Resonance, I probably would not go much higher than 100, but it still provides a tremendous amount of damage. So you're getting at least 33% of additional damage for practically only 100 Spirit. And since we are not playing Invoker anymore, we don't even need that many variations of the spirits. Usually, you've been using Cast on Critical to get your charges up. But since we will be able to generate our charges with Mantra of Destruction and Elf Chimes, and also with the new Gloves, which is going to give you power charges on crits, it leads into a situation when you don't need Cast on Critical anymore. You can just drop it out of the build. So the only thing that we practically need is using Trinity and Herald of Ice and Herald of Ash, which is pretty basic. If the clear will be too good, I've been also thinking about just replacing Herald of Ash completely and run something like a Wind Dancer. Also, since we are getting significantly more evasion rating and energy shield, I believe our survivability is going to skyrocket. In my endgame version, right here, I have almost 7,000 of energy shield and 60% evade chance and 50% deflect. I believe that even half of those numbers are going to provide a huge survivability for the build. And the amount of evasion and deflect is even going to improve in 0.5. So I believe on a high budget, build itself will be very tanky. On the lower budget, I believe that playing without Chaos Inoculation could be a very good idea. That way you will still maintain the health, and I believe that until you will reach a proper endgame and a very good setup, it will be a better idea to play without it completely. So if you don't have the currency, I will showcase the version without it. So another good question is, what about bosses? For bosses, I believe the Whirling Assault should be pretty much enough at the higher budgets. But just in case, I think we'll have a few additional techniques to improve our damage. First off, we will have a bow on our back. Second, we will get additional bows from Hollow Focus. After that, we're also going to use a Mantra of Destruction, which is pretty basic. I'm not exactly sure it will be that necessary, but spamming it to get additional bonus damage for yourself is very nice. And you will be able to use it pretty often too. Just when you're getting 8 combos, and Whirling Assault is generating combos pretty fast, especially when you have like a charge stuff on top of you too. So I believe that belts together with Mantra of Destruction and Whirling will be enough. And the last thing against bosses is Falling Thunder. Initially, I wanted to use a Falling Thunder just to offset the charges that we're generating, because in my opinion we're generating a little too much with all changes the Martial Artist has. So at the moment I have like a Nova projectiles on there, but we can even drop it and instead run a basic setup with Falling Thunder against bosses, and every time when we're generating enough charges and enough combos for culmination, we can also use Falling Thunder to hit the boss even harder. If you don't really like Falling Thunder for any reason, there's also option to use a Flicker Strike instead, or just change one to another, because both of them are interchangeable. However, I believe that with such setup, going for the bosses will not be really hard for us, because we have Mantra, we have Hand of Chiyula, we have a lot of additional bells, and on top of it we even have a Falling Thunder or Flicker. So that's been the initial idea for it. In the next few days I'm still going to test some particular parts of the build and will keep updating the guide. Also, I will do a leveling video showcasing how you need to level and all the breakpoint that we might use to make it as strong as possible. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you will be able to join me in that pretty beautiful martial artist journey. And see you next time. ronarray out.